This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla in the Narrowgate Security Agency studios.
We've needed a revolution, and we found our revolutionary. Donald J. Trump is that revolutionary.
Sarah Palin is one of the most prominent women to endorse Donald J. Trump for president. But the Mama Grizzly is not alone. Despite the lies from Hillary Clinton and friends, women support Trump emphatically. While those who don't know him continue to criticize, those that do know Mr. Trump love him for who he is and for what he will do for our country. Today, two women who know Donald Trump very well are here on the Palin Update. Lynne Patton, Vice President of the Eric Trump Foundation, and Lara Trump, Donald Trump's daughter-in-law. I caught up with both of them on the Trump train, and today you'll hear their comments on Mr. Trump. It's a can't-miss edition of the Palin Update with Lynne Patton and Lara Trump. Sarah Palin remembers Shimon Peres. The governor blasts a bumbling Bronco but applauds Mike Ditka for the Chicago Bear legend's comments regarding Colin Kaepernick. And a brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert is on the way from Texas. Sarah Steelman is on assignment. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. The Palin Update is sponsored by Narrowgate Security Agency. Learn more at narrowgate.com. Women for Trump is out there working hard for Donald Trump. The group includes Lara Trump, Katrina Pearson, Omarosa, Lynne Patton, Diamond and Silk, and others. And this weekend I caught up with two of the ladies as they hit the trail for Mr. Trump. Lara Trump, Eric Trump's wife and the daughter-in-law of Donald Trump, and Lynne Patton, the VP of the Eric Trump Foundation. You remember Lynne from her RNC speech, as well as her heartfelt video letting America know all about the real Donald Trump. Today, we're happy to bring you my exclusive interview with Lynne Patton and Lara Trump. Lynne Patton is up first on the Palin Update.
Now, I want to ask you, Lynne, people have talked about Donald Trump and about his treatment of women. Meantime, here you are a woman who just thinks the world of him. You were wonderful at the convention. You put out that powerful video that people really responded to, and it resonated with so many people. Tell us your thoughts on Donald Trump, specifically on how he treats women.
Well, thank you so much. And actually, one of the reasons why I'm even on this tour is because I could no longer remain silent about how Donald Trump treats women. Not only does he hire strong, independent, educated, talented women, but he also raises them. I think Ivanka, Tiffany are complete solid proof of that. And it's an honor to be here out on the campaign trail representing somebody who honors that and appreciates that and respects that. And I always say, people ask me what it's like to be a female executive or a black female executive at the Trump Organization, and that question always surprises me because, quite frankly, the first thing that pops in my head is that it's exactly the same way as it feels to be a male executive at the Trump Organization. He treats us all equally, and if we're not doing our job, those famous two words, you're fired. We all hear. And so, you know, it's just actually in business, it's all about, as we know in the boardroom, what you bring to the table. It's never about your ethnicity, your gender, your religion, your sexual orientation. And Donald Trump applies those tenets not just in business but also to life. And he's raised 5 amazing kids who also apply those same principles.
One of the first high-profile women that came out for Donald Trump and endorsed him was Governor Palin. And a lot of people in the party kind of went after her for doing that, but she was not afraid to do that. What is your thought on that and Governor Palin in general being for Donald Trump and being for him, so steadfast manner?
Well, Governor Palin is such an admirable woman. She's accomplished so much in her life, and I think Lara can speak better to what the family thinks of her. The family adores her. They have a very close relationship with her, and we could not thank her enough for her support and longtime support and coming out when it was actually unpopular, coming out before he even had the nomination. And she obviously saw something that we all saw, and maybe that the mainstream media is still trying to keep everybody from seeing. But you know what? This country is not blind. They have they can see with their own eyes that Mr. Trump has his finger on the pulse of this nation. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised on November 8th.
And Lynn, again, I know I mentioned in the beginning, but thank you for your great speech and thank you for that video that you put out. I think it really touched a lot of people who may have been looking the other way and have looked
so
toward
much. Thank you so much. I could not say anything. This family has done so much for me. They've truly stood by me through difficult times. I touched on it in my video. I've struggled with addiction and substance abuse. And this family stood by me and said, you know what, Lynn, you're better than that. And there's a place for you here, and there's a place for you in our family. And they treat me as such.
And I love how you did it on your own. Even Mr. Trump was like, she didn't even tell me, but it was a good one, right? All right, and with Lara Trump, Eric's wife, we were at your winery recently, just a great time, and my kids love their Charlie dogs. All the proceeds going to St. Jude's, the stuffed animals of your Charlie, fellow dog nuts like yourself, so that was great.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad they like them. I'm such an animal person myself, and obviously I love my Charlie dog, the real one, but it's great to know everyone shares in that. And, St. Jude has become such a special thing that, we've become involved with. Eric, 10 years ago, at 22 years old, started the Eric Trump Foundation supporting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And Lynn actually always says it at a time when most kids his age at 22 were more concerned with social media than social responsibility. Eric felt like he wanted to give back because he had been so lucky in life. And it's been a blessing to work with St. Jude.
You tell Charlie that Rex says hi, and he's already friends with Jill Hadassah Palin, so we got to get dogs for Donald, pups for Pence, the whole thing.
Pets for Pence, I love it.
Talk about a relationship with women. I mean, here you are, Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, okay? Only a few people can have that moniker. How has he treated you over the years? And when you hear these things, these attacks that they never had before he ran for president, which is very telling.
Isn't that interesting?
And not only, all of a sudden, though, and then he's a racist, then he's a womanizer, then he's all these things. When you sit there, I know I've talked to Governor Palin's family about this over the years. She's tough. She can take it. I'm sure Mr. Trump the same way. But when you're the family members or the associates and you hear it, doesn't it drive you you want to say, what's going on? This is so false?
Yeah, well, listen, it is so false, and it's so far from the truth, and that's one of the reasons that this group we have that's really been traveling around the country sort of formed, and it was very organic in the way it formed. You always hear the narrative, women don't support Donald Trump. Black women and African Americans in general don't support Donald Trump. Well, if you look at the makeup of our group here, I am the only white woman in this group. And honestly, that was not by design. That was a very organic thing that happened. These are all women that know Donald Trump and know the man he is and know his heart. And whenever we heard these things, look, they're hard to hear because they're not true. And we felt like we had to come out and tell people the true story of who this man is, what he wants to do for our country. And that's what we're doing. And I have to tell you, everywhere we go, I have women coming up to me constantly saying thank you for changing the narrative, because I have supported him from day one, and we know that he's going to do the right things for this country. And look, it's an honor. It's an honor to be part of this family. This is an incredible family. Look at what they've accomplished. Look at how great the kids are. I mean, you don't see that often from successful people, unfortunately, and the Trump kids are truly incredible kids. And Donald Trump has treated me with such respect and has always, encouraged me to go after my goals, whether it's a personal goal, a career goal. He likes strong people, man or woman, and he's always encouraged me to be a strong woman. And I know that he wants the best for all women in our country.
Some of the most fervent supporters in my family, my 92-year-old grandmother, my 8-year-old daughter. So we have the whole spectrum of Trump supporters.
That's right. Thank you.
Quickly again on Governor Palin, has been there from the beginning for Mr. Trump. Thoughts on the governor and the fact that she caught some flack from a lot of conservatives who from the beginning, these people who, have the gall to question Mr. Trump's Christianity, his republicanism, his conservatism.
They expected her to support Ted Cruz.
Meantime, here she is, who's more conservative than the governor, and she was behind him, but she didn't back then. She did what was right instead of maybe what was popular to some.
Look, Governor Palin has been incredible. The family absolutely adores her. Mr. Trump adores her. You're exactly right, came out at a time when it wasn't the most popular thing to support Donald Trump, when still there were people saying he'll never do it, there's no chance he will make it. But she saw in him what the American people have seen in him. There's a reason he has broken every voter registration record across the country during the primaries. This is a man that is speaking to the people because he understands what the people want. And we can't thank Sarah Palin enough. She really has been so gracious, so incredible. And I think it speaks to the fact that she herself is such a strong woman. Whenever she decided she was going to support him, we appreciate that loyalty. And listen, Donald Trump is a very loyal person too, so I'm sure they connected on that front. But she's really been great, and we really can't thank her enough.
All right, Lara Trump, regards to your father-in-law, to your husband as well, and Lynne Patton, thank you so much. Safe travels. You guys are great. Diamond and Silk, pretty boring to hang out with. They don't have much to say, right?
They're so low energy, like Jebs.
They're so much fun. We can never speak after them because they bring down the house. We always say you guys have to go last because we can't follow you.
They're great friends of the show. Been on a couple times. My daughter, as a matter of fact, drank out of her Diamond and Silk mug this morning before cheerleading. So
you better take a picture with them.
All right. Thank you so much, and God bless. We're going to do this.
We are. We're going to do
it.
Amazing women fighting the fight for Donald Trump. Lara Trump, my fellow dog lover, and Lynne Patton, my fellow Golden Girls aficionado. Thanks so much for being on the show, ladies. For more on these amazing deplorables and others just like them, head to DonaldJTrump.com. Shimon Peres passed away this past week. Governor Palin remembered him on social media, writing prayers for the people of Israel as we mourn the loss of Shimon Peres, a president, a poet, a prime minister, and a peacemaker. And the governor weighed in on some football issues that have, well, very little to do with football. First, Brandon Marshall, who took a knee instead of standing for the national anthem before a recent Broncos game. After that stunt, Marshall had a public appearance pulled. Palin wrote on Facebook, "Funny thing is, I'll bet so many of these rich, privileged jocks have no idea what their pro-America protest is even about. Come on, reporters, ask some of them what they have against America's anthem and/or our declarations of freedom. You know some will respond cluelessly because protesting their nation's symbols is just the hip thing to do right now, and they're sheep." Palin then linked an article of the canceled Marshall appearance. The store owner dumped Marshall and instead hung up pictures and stories of veterans from all different eras and wars. The stories were sent in from people who had loved ones who served. This after the store owner asked for their input. It's just amazing and much better than some average football player any day. And the great Iron Mike Ditka speaks out on Colin Kaepernick. Ditka saying on a radio show, quote, "I think it's a problem. Anybody who disrespects this country and the flag, if they don't like the country, they don't like our flag, get the hell out. I have no respect for Colin Kaepernick. He probably has no respect for me. That's his choice. My choice is I like this country. I respect our flag, and I don't see all the atrocities going on in this country that people say are going on. I see opportunities if people want to look for opportunity. Now, if they don't want to look for them, then you can find problems with anything. But this is the land of opportunity because you can be anything you want to be if you work. If you don't work, that's a different problem," unquote. Palin's thoughts on Ditka? Iron Mike Ditka, love him. He doesn't mince words. No, he doesn't, and neither does Sarah Palin. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page, follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA, and check out sarahpack.com.
Now, the Palin Update with Kevin Scholla presents Liberty and Legacy. Here's Tamara Colbert.
By the time you hear this Liberty and Legacy segment, the United States government on Saturday ended its formal oversight role of the internet, handing over the management of the internet developed by U.S. taxpayer dollars to a global nonprofit entity. I have to talk about this today. I am so upset. Where were the Republicans talking about this in the Congress? Not a one. The only sole person out of 535 members of the Congress on Capitol Hill, including the Senate, there was one person talking about this, and that was U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. This morning, the United States Commerce Department announced the contract we had with the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, otherwise known as ICANN, announced the contract that the U.S. government had with ICANN was over and not renewed. Right? So ICANN manages the Internet's so-called root zone. That now leaves ICANN as a, quote, self-regulating organization operated by the internet's, quote, stakeholders, engineers, academics, businesses, non-government, and government groups. This is part of a decades-old plan supposedly by the United States government to privatize the internet. And backers, not sure who the backers are, said it would help maintain integrity around the world. The United States of America has had a symbolic role as the overseer of the internet. This is for domains, addresses, okay? We have had the oversight, the guardianship of the internet since we, let me be clear, since we created it. Now, many people, including the one lone U.S. lawmaker I've heard about, said this was nothing short of a giveaway by Washington, D.C. And let me be clear, this was a giveaway by Barack Obama that could possibly allow authoritarian regimes to seize control of the internet. Folks, Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, don't be fooled for 1 second that they are not thinking they can grab that. Now, yesterday, a last-ditch effort by critics to block the plan filed a lawsuit by 4 states, led by the state of Texas, but a federal judge refused to issue an injunction to stop the transition. I don't know about you. I'm ticked off. I'm mad as heck. Ladies and gentlemen, here is another way our liberty has gone. Not one, except for Ted Cruz and the state of Texas, the state of Arizona, and the 2 other states that I am not sure of, who were guarding, trying to protect the internet. Wake up. We have got to do more. The only way to put Washington, D.C. in its tiny little constitutional box is Article 5 in the Convention of States Project. This is just unbelievable to me personally. The ICANN's board chairman and an engineer of internet protocols said that this transition was, quote, envisioned 18 years ago and was the tireless work of a global internet community. I don't know about you, but the United States has always been the guardians of liberty. Do we really think the internet's going to be guarded and protected with free speech for all by Russia and Vladimir Putin? Or Ahmadinejad in Iran? Or the communist Chinese? I am so upset about this. I am asking you to do something. Please call your representative, your congressman or woman this week. Tell them you think they stink. Because they do. Be nice about it, but tell them they did nothing to save the internet and have the United States continue to be the protectors of the internet since our taxpayer dollars had created it. It's the only way. There's the only country in the world that is going to be looking out for liberty, not just for ourselves, but for our friends, is the United States. This is a powerful illustration that the best way to approach challenges are not from 535 members on Capitol Hill and a president who is doing everything he can to single-handedly take down our country. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but there is a way that you can be part of a movement that is going to reclaim our heritage, a movement that Sarah Palin has endorsed, embraces, and loves. It is the Convention of States Project. We have got to move now, regardless of who is president. Heaven forbid Hillary. Even if Donald Trump is president, we must, the citizens, rise up to restore our state's sovereignty, solidify the reminder to those on Capitol Hill that the federal government was born from the states and not the other way around. This is another example why your liberty and your legacy must be protected by you. Have a great week. Don't forget to call your senator and your United States congressman, and then call your state representative and tell them why you support the Convention of States, and it's time to move now. I'm Tamara Colbert for Liberty and Legacy. This is Mama Grizzly Radio. Tweet me this week at Tamara Colbert, hashtag Mama Grizz Radio.
Tamara Colbert in Texas. Tune in for more Liberty and Legacy next week. And to learn about Convention of States, head to conventionofstates.com. The Palin Update, including Liberty and Legacy and Steel Resolve, is on demand and available for download. So just head to mamagrizzlyradio.com, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Visit mamagrizzlyradio.com for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, like Mama Grizzly Radio on Facebook and follow along on Twitter at Mama Grizz Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Tamara Colbert, and at Sarah_Steelman. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I want to thank Sarah Steelman, Tamara Colbert, and everyone here at Mama Grizzly Radio. Thanks to Lynne Patton and Lara Trump. And thank you for listening today. A special thanks to our sponsor, Narrowgate Security Agency. Visit narrowgate.com. The Palin Update is produced by Lena Anderson, the Andy L. Kramer, and Lori Ann Lewis. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update right here on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.